Hey everyone, hope you are doing awesome. Welcome back to my channel PEGAhut with another video. Thanks everyone for subscribing to my channel, and if you haven't hit the bell icon yet, please do so you won't miss any of my videos. Today we are going to continue discussing about object method part 2 as planned. Today I am going to explain the rest of the object method in detail and also some hands-on. Before watching this video, I would strongly suggest you to watch my object method part 1 video so you would understand from the start. Remember, these methods are very crucial to perform advanced activity operation. So knowing them in detail is going to help you a lot in getting stronger in writing the code using activity. So without doing further delay, let's get into it. To start with, let's have a quick recap on what we learned on my last session. So we learned about object browse. What does it mean? Browsing an object from the database. It's kind of searching the object ID from the database. Object open is opening the object. While object open, you can lock the object or and also you can choose to release the lock on commit. And there are other options that you can choose. Basically, you are going to open the object to do some action on it. Object open by a handle, the same like object open, just that object open will need a POI ID and then it will try to search that from in the database. But object open by handle would need the PZINS key. If you got a PZINS key, you can directly go. It will be faster. Object refresh and lock is when you open the object and later on you realize that you want to lock. You open an object without locking the object, and then later on you realize that you need that object to lock. Then you can use this method. Object save is what is kind of your changes will be saved in Pega. So depending on whether you choose right now then or other option. So if you choose right now, the changes will be committed to database then and there. And if you choose if you uncheck that right now, then obviously it will save, and once you hit the commit, that's where the changes will be saved. So this is what we have learned in my last session. Today we are going to learn about object delete by handle, save, cancel and rollback, and object sort and object validate. Okay, let's understand object delete first. So I'll just click on object delete. Just before that, I will again update the same document and put the link of my drive location in the description box so that you guys can go and view. So object delete. So okay, what does it mean by? So basically what it means by, the name itself indicates, right? It helps you deleting the row from the database. Now which row? Now it says object delete, right? That means obviously the object means case ID. So when you let's say you browsed a case and then you want them to be deleted from the database for so and so reason, depending on the requirement. Then what you can do is you can use this method to delete that row from the database. That means completely to delete that case ID from your case. So you cannot see that instance anymore. Now there are two parameter of it. One is remove, another one is immediate. So basically what does remove does? Remove basically helps you to remove the clipboard page. So Pega will remove that clipboard page then and there. If you are not going to use that anymore, then it will remove the clipboard page. So for that particular object, you cannot do anything else if you execute this object delete and remove, because it will mark the object as deleted, and also it will remove the clipboard page so that Pega will not have any more reference of that particular object during runtime when you are running that in activity. Now immediate will execute the commit method then and there. That means the object will be removed then and there. Generally what happened, if you do an object delete and you do not click on immediate, that means Pega will find a commit method, and when it reaches to that commit method, then only it will go and delete the record from the database. But in this scenario, if you put immediate, it's going to delete the record directly then and there. I hope it is clear. Now, if you so I just wanted to tell you another thing. When you do object delete, make sure you call object open first, acquire the lock, and then do a delete. If you don't acquire the lock, obviously it won't be able to delete you, delete for you. So make sure you got the lock handled. Now let's do some practical so that you would understand what I mean. Let me open the Pega. So people who have already seen my activity advance part 3 video, then they would have already got to know that generally what we do is we first browse the object, and then obviously this temp page is part of code hyphen pega hyphen list. Then we loop that page list, and then based on that we open the object, do some property set, and then save and commit, right? This is what we do. Now let's say in your scenario you need to delete an object. Let me perform a delete object. So before that I need to find out some case ID, right? For example, if I go to activity concept, so if you see I got two case ID already present, A-8001, A-8002, right? Now second thing what I'm going to show you is also the database. So here if I right click and open the definition, I'll just get the click on the test connection. So when you click on the test connection, then you would see this class is mapped to this data-pc-xyz PEGAhut -work, right? Now what I would do is I got this database connection already in my system. People who do not have database connection, don't worry, I'll probably create a short video where I'll show you how you can connect this PG-admin 4 in your personal edition. But basically it helps you to see, if you know a bit of database, it helps you to see the records and all. So over here I go to PegaDB. I have I'm going to expand that database. So here if you see it is data, right? So you need to go, so here if you see I am you need to expand schema. You'll have data, public, rules, and SQLs, right? So go for data, and in the data you got something called table. Now what table that we need to worry is PC-xyz PEGAhut -work, right? Now if you search and go somewhere, it will be PC-xyz, right? It will be all the way down. So this is PR, this is PR. Okay, I'm going up now. PC-xyz PEGAhut, this is PEGAhut -work, right? Now if you right click and you do a what is that, view edit data all row, right? Now this will help me to get all the row that is there in the work class, right? Now what I'm going to do is, let me copy this one and let me open a new SQL window. Okay, query tool. I'll open a query tool, and what I'm going to do is I'll paste this one, and I will say, now I wanted to see what are the object that I have got, A-8001, A-8002. So what I'll do is select start from data, this one, where the object value is going to be stored in PYID. So I'll say A hyphen, let me get only for 8001 because I want to show something to you first about that, and then the other. So if I go here, okay, I did, okay, yeah, I know this double quote wouldn't work, so it has to be a single quote. So now you could able to see that I got this record in the database, right? A-8001. I'll just show you the PYID. Okay, just bear with me a minute. Okay, yeah. See this PYID 8001, which is nothing but this one. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this activity, and I'll perform a delete. So to run this activity in Obj-Browse, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hardcode this A8001 directly, because I don't want to browse everything. I'll just browse that one and delete that object so that it will be clear for you. Now when I do, so now when I browse, what will happen? Now 8001 will be browsed, right? Now what I'll do is, yeah, let me keep that px result as is. It'll be having only one record. Now here, instead of doing property set, let me comment these two. Here I'm going to do a object delete. Okay. Now here I'm going to do a object delete. Okay. Now if I go to object delete, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you both the options. So let me obviously check the remove. Remove is like, deleting the clipboard from there. So I'm going to put the work page here. Now I'll do a checkout. I'll save it. Now if I do an action and run, right? So what will happen is it will delete the object and it will commit. Now let's see what happens so that you would understand. Now if I go to Tracer, okay, Tracer already open. Let me go back to the Tracer, and here, now if I run this, let's see what happened. So if I run this, okay, so operation completed successful. This became successful. Now let me show you what happened. So now I think this is update inside cases. Okay, so as you could see, now it browsed. Okay, this is the starting point. It started browsing the object. Okay, now when it browsed, let me pause this one. When it browsed, now in my PX result, I'll have the case ID for 8001, right? After this case ID, what it happened is, because I told them to put a lock, that's why it inserted a entry in the data.pr syslog, which you guys already know. I don't want to enforce there. Now, if I go here, then what happened is, then I told them to do a delete, right? Now, because I do a delete, that's why it executed that and it marked the record as delete. Now, as I told, I haven't done it immediate, right? So that means when it goes to commit, that's where it will delete that record from the database. Now, let's say whether it does or not. Now, when it reaches to the commit point, which is step 2.5, if you could see here, now if you see, it deleted all the detail that it wanted to from the index one. It also deleted the record from xyz PEGAhut-work. Now what it deleted, there will be a SQL query over here. Now if I click just this one, right? Sorry, if I click just this one, right? So what will happen is, you see, delete from data dot the same table that where I have shown, where it calculated the PZINS key, which is nothing but our A-8001. So it calculated internally the PZINS key. That's right. If when you say open and open by handle, so if you open and give the POI ID, Pega goes and calculate this PZINS key. If you do open by handle, Pega doesn't need to calculate. That's why open by handle is always faster. Similarly, your delete and delete by handle is always faster than delete, obviously. So after that, it deleted, then it removed the lock, because I told release on commit, right? So it removed the lock and it committed. So what does it mean? Does it mean that it will remove the object here, case ID? Yes, it does. So if I do a refresh here, you see A-8001 is gone. Now, can I see the same thing in database? Let's try it out. So earlier, when I executed this query, you could find one row right here. Now, if I executed the query, I'll refresh this. Now I executed, this entire record has been deleted from the database. So that's how object delete works. Let's say if for some reason, for some business reason, you need to delete that object from the database, then you can use object delete. I hope this is clear. Now I'll go to object delete by handle. Object delete by handle, it does the same thing. Now there are a couple of advantages of object delete by handle. First, before even knowing advantages, first you need to know when you need to work on object delete by handle. When you got the PZINS key, which I've just told you before. Now, if you got a PZINS key, you just call object delete by handle. Now, if you do not have a PZINS key, then obviously you're gonna call object delete. Now, when you call object delete by handle, the another best part is you do not need to call object open externally. So object delete by handle, what it does, it will open the object, it will lock the object, and it will delete your instance. So that's the beauty of object delete by handle. So that means you are basically saving two. First thing, you are increasing performance a lot, because you don't need to call object open and all this thing, and Pega doesn't need to perform. And second thing is, because of the PZINS key, Pega doesn't need to calculate the PZINS key. Pega can directly have the PZINS key and then try to delete that object. So you are basically saving. And also with respect to writing the code, you are saving, instead of writing two steps, you are just writing one step by using object delete by handle. So this is what I have mentioned over here. Now instance handle is PZINS key. Again, this lock and release, lock and commit is what I've just told. When it does object open, depending on this syntax, it will help you to whether to lock or not. So technically, yes, you should always lock before you're deleting, else it won't happen anything. It will not do anything. And pretty much it's the same thing. So if you would have seen object open, it has got almost same parameter apart from this immediate. So immediate is nothing but the same immediate. If I do immediate, it's gonna delete then and there. So I'll just show you about one example of immediate, which I haven't shown you. Maybe I'll just do, what I'll do is here, I'll check immediate and I'll comment this commit. Okay. Now what I'll do is, obviously I have got another case ID, which is 8002. Here, while browsing the object, I'm gonna put 8002. Okay. Now I save it. Now I'll do action and run. And also I will turn on the tracer in the background. When I turn on the tracer, let's see what happened. Okay. So update inside cases. Now where I have done my delete. So here if you see, object open is done. Now object delete, step end, right? Where the begin. Okay, this might be the begin. Yes, this is the begin. Now because I have done immediate. So what Pega does, Pega automatically deleted that row from XYZ PEGAhut work, and then Pega itself done a commit. So basically that's what Pega does. Instead of writing a commit, you can do that, but you need to do that very carefully. Sometimes you don't want to delete let's say if you got a requirement where there is a chance that you don't want to delete and you can roll back the changes, then you can use it. So try not to do commit then and there. Always keep the commit at the later point of time so that you'll have a better control of it. Okay. So I hope this is clear about object, open by handle and object delete. Now let's come back to object save, cancel, and rollback. So I've combined these two methods in a same place so that you can find the difference between these two. So now what does object save cancel does? Basically, object save cancel will do the rollback. Now what does rollback do? Yes, rollback would also do the rollback. Now what is the difference? So if you see object save, although the name has save, you can use this to roll back object save and also object delete operation. I just told you, right? If you wouldn't have written immediate here, then if for certain scenario you don't want to delete that anymore, you can call object save and cancel, so that whatever PEGAhut would mark them as deleted or mark them something else, they can PEGAhut can roll back that. So let's say if you are using object save or object delete and followed by object save and cancel, that means PEGAhut would roll back whatever you have used. That's point number one. Now rollback also it's going to do the same thing. I'll tell you what is the difference between these two in a while. You can use this method to cancel recent uncommitted object save and object delete operation. But for rollback, you can use this method to cancel or withdraw any previous uncommitted change. So this is what the difference between object save and cancel and rollback. So object save and cancel would only roll back the recent object save or object delete on a particular clipboard page. However, rollback operation will roll back the entire pages. What does it mean? Let's say in a scenario, when you did an object browse, you got two results, okay? PX result 1 and PX result 2. Now, if you see, I've just shown a way of writing the information. So if you see in this example, what I did is, so I've written an object, obviously object browse, and let's say the object browse has got two record, XYZ1, XYZ2. Now here in the loop, I have put object open or property set and object save. And then what I did is outside the loop, I have, if you see, it is step number 4. This is step number 5. So outside the loop, I have done an object cancel. So what does it mean? So it will loop XYZ1 and XYZ2. Now for it will first go open the clipboard page of XYZ1 and then it will set the property and it will save that and it will keep for later operation. Then it will loop and go to XYZ2. It will open the object, set the property, and then it save the object and it will keep that clipboard page also along with that, right? Now when I say it will keep means PEGAhut control, when it executed during runtime, it will have those clipboard pages in his own session. Now outside, if I do object save cancel, what it does is whatever you did for the latest. So if you see recent uncommitted object save or object delete. Now what is the recent uncommitted? Let's say if it is in the loop wherein XYZ in the first iteration, XYZ2 is in the second iteration. So the recent uncommitted would be XYZ2, right? In this scenario. So when you do object save cancel outside, it will basically roll back only this changes. So that means it will not do anything to this clipboard page. However, XYZ1, whatever has been committed or saved or deleted, it will perform when there is an object, there is a commit method. Okay. But in rollback scenario, what it will do, it will roll back all the transactions. So that is the difference between those two. It will roll back all the transaction. Basically, it will not perform any more thing. That's all, that's what a difference between object save and cancel and rollback. So you guys can, write the code in this way and do an execution so you know what I meant, right? I hope this is clear. Now let's move to another concept called object sort. So basically object sort is nothing but the same as, there is a sort method in data transform, right? So what it does, it basically sort in ascending or descending order for the page list property. Object sort does the exact same thing. So basically you should, let's say if you got a requirement wherein you need to sort the page list based on the age or something in when you show on the table on the UI. So what you can do is you can use this object sort method and here mention the page list property which will have all the individual property. obviously you need to mention the definition of that page list property class, and then you in the sort property, let's say if your requirement is sort by age or sort by date or whatever, right? Depending on that, what is the, whenever I say sort by that property, you just use this property here, and then the default will be in ascending order. If you wanted to change it to descending order, just make sure you check that box. Now let's say if you got a requirement wherein you can sort by created date and then by name or age, something like that, you got more than one sorting option, then you can use that age here and click on this plus icon and then add the other property. So this is what object sort does. It's a very simple method to use. The next one is object validate. So many people would know validate, but people who are new to the Pega world, they might not know the validate means. So validate means it's nothing but you are kind of doing a validation of an object. So that object can be a page, can be a page list, can be the entire PY work page. Now, when I say object, right, what does it mean? Let's say, your email ID has to be mandatory only if you give a certain parameter, or let's say, if I would say, if I give ID type, right? So many of my examples, I have a drop down called ID type, and then my ID number is there, right? If you choose ID type as none, then ID number obviously is not mandatory. But if you choose ID type as passport or something, then ID number is mandatory. So all this mandatory validation, how it happens, Pega gives a validate rule which helps achieving that. So where this validate rule generally stays, it is generally associated with a flow action. So I'll just quickly show. If you go any process and then you go to flow action, right? Let's say if I have a review information, so you see this validation tab. Basically, you create a validate rule. So whatever validate rule Pega has, you basically create a validate rule and you can use to validate your object. So this is how the validate rule would look like. So basically, you can put a validation on a property and you can say you can put the condition on what condition you want to validate the property. It will also help you to show a necessary message. Now so this is where you can add when you are working in a flow action or something. But if there is a need that you need to validate an object while executing that activity, then you can do that. So basically you can call that method. So okay, I'll show you this one. You can call this object validate method, and in this object validate method, what you can do is you can give the validate rule name. So basically depending on the step page, let's say if you do not have a step page, obviously the step page will be by default will be PY work page. Let's say if you got a step page, then the validation rule will have those property of that particular step page. Now override class, what it does basically, let's say the same validate method is there in my activity advanced concept class, and also the same validate method is there in my work class. So let's say the same validate method is there in activity advanced concept and work class. Depending on the nature, I want them to be executed only. So generally during runtime, depending on the, let's say if I'm executing any cases from activity advanced concept, the context of the class will be given the priority. So Pega rule resolution will always try to pick the detail from this class, then it will go to work class if it can't find anything. But in this scenario, if you put a class there, whatever class you are going to put, it will override and it will only find from that class. If you don't give any class there, then obviously it is not going to it will only execute the classes based on the rule resolution. That means context will be preferred. If you give a class, then Pega, without looking for a context, directly gonna go to that particular class and try to pick the validate rule to validate. Now, why is that? Because see, like I told, let's say sometime you might need to do some validation for a specific step page, right? Then you mention that step page, and then in that step page, you can create a validate rule. Now you are only going to validate the property in that step page. So what you can do is you can directly mention the class that, okay, I want the validate rule to be picked up from this particular class. I don't want the validate rule to be picked up from another class. So this is why it is very important. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for today's lesson. I think we have covered all the object method in detail, and I've also shown you a little example and sometime in-depth example depending on the nature of the object method. These object methods are very crucial, guys. So I definitely want you to do hands-on for each and every object method. By now you would have seen these videos and you would have if you would have seen my activity series, obviously you are very confident on writing an activity and properly executing them. Now what I want you to execute this each and every method, try to understand, try to ask question to yourself. And okay, if you can't answer, then I'm always there for you, and you can always ping me and ask me all the question that you want, how you guys are asking at the moment. And also if it is lengthy, you want to mail me, then feel free to do that. But please make sure you do all the hands-on, so that you'll be very strong in object method, and you're gonna use this in very you're gonna use this quite frequently in your day-to-day life. That's it for today. Hope you understood clearly. And if you got any queries, then feel free to email me or put them in comment section, and stay tuned for my next video. Please hit the like button if you learned something from this video or you like the way I have explained, and leave me a comment if you have any queries or feedback for me. That is going to motivate me for sure to post more videos. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe and click on the bell notification for my new video updates. Like I tell always, sharing is caring. So do share with others, so people who do not know about my channel will be benefited. See you in the next video, and thanks for watching.